Assalamu alaikum, good morning everyone, and welcome to a new lesson always about the essay and the academic writing. Today we'll try to highlight the formal and the informal writing styles. Right, in English we have two styles. One is formal and the other is informal. Now what do I mean by these two terms? Now when I say formal, right, here of course I mean it is a kind of serious writing, if you can say academic writing, objective writing style and so on, which is used mainly, right, in business, right, in the field of business, also in the academic environment, schools, universities, research papers, and all what is academic, right, and also it's used in administrations, right, in administrations where the language should be, right, serious and we can say formal, serious and formal. Second style is called informal. It's not formal. Why? Because this style is casual. Is kind of friendly style. Right? It's more personal. It is, if you can say, colloquial more than anything else. Clear? So we find this informal writing style mainly, right, or which is used mainly with the family and also with the friends and also with the close acquaintances. Clear? Close acquaintances where we are not supposed or required to use an official, you can say, serious formal language. Just it's going to be informal, right, simple language. Good. Now, why do we need to know the difference between formal and informal styles? Because we are studying the essay, academic essay. And the academic essay, we should stick and use only the objective and the formal academic writing style. So, when we know what is formal, right, and what is informal, we can be able to avoid using the informal writing style in our essays. It means we study this lesson to avoid insert any kind of informal writing, any kind of informal expressions, informal contractions, informal, I don't know, punctuation, all right, within our academic essays. Clear? Good. Now, what makes the two styles differ? One is formal and the other is informal. In what way? Or what involves this difference? Of course, number one, or the first factor which makes this difference between the two styles and requires the use of each one in its appropriate context is the audience. Right, the audience. For example, audience of formal writing style is administrations, business, right, students, right, researchers, and so on. Whereas for the informal one, it can be, right, common people, ordinary friends, and so on. Also the tone, right, the tone also has its role here, while the formal, right, has serious or complex language, right, and the words which are used in it are a bit different, clear, or they are specific comparing to the informal writing style. Because the tone here, we mean by tone how the words are arranged, the way of arranging your words in your sentences makes a style, right, whether it is formal or informal. Also, the purpose of writing also determines the appropriate use of each style. For example, if I want to write a complaint to an administration or headmaster, I must use the formal writing style. Clear? But if I want to write a wedding invitation letter to my friends, here, of course, purpose differs, and so here I will use the informal writing style. Clear? Also, besides to vocabulary and even the grammar, syntax of the two styles differ. Clear? Differ depending always on the context of each style. Clear? Or for each style. So we have audience, tone, purpose, vocabulary, and syntax. So these are the main, you can say, criteria which require, right, the use of one style or another. Clear? Good. Now let's take an example about formal writing and informal writing. Look at this first sentence. This note is to inform you, or to inform, sorry. This note is to inform that the book which was submitted has been rejected. Clear? Second example, which is identical in meaning, but with different order of words, clear, or type of words, and also new arrangement. It says, you know that book I wrote? Well, publishing company rejected it. They thought it was awful. So here, the first sentence or expression is formal. It's serious, complex sentences. Right. No addressing of the reader with you. While second one is informal. You know, he addresses first the reader with you. It's informal. Also, we have the use also of active voice in second, which is informal. Right. And also the use of colloquial word, which is awful. Clear? So these two represent examples of difference between formal writing and informal way of expressing or writing your ideas. Right. Now let's trace together the main difference between informal writing and formal writing. We have many aspects of difference at the level of the two styles. We will try to cover them, explain them one by one with examples. Of course, as we said before, to avoid what is informal in our academic writing, right, and to know what is formal and this is in our academic writing, right, and also to be able to distinguish between the two styles. Now, informal first. In informal writing, you may use colloquial words or expressions. It means you can use daily language of conversations. Clear? Example, you can use words like kids, guy, awesome. Clear? Right. Also, some words of slang, maybe. Right. They are allowed in informal writing. But informal writing, avoid using colloquial, right, and slang and conversational common expressions and words. Instead, replace the informal words with formal, serious words. Like, for example, children for kids, boy or man for guy, and wonderful instead of awesome. Like this, as you see, the words here are more serious. Unlike in the first one, they are simple and light and also colloquial. Good. Also, in informal writing, you may use contractions. It means can't, won't, shouldn't. Alright, an apostrophe. Alright, to shorten the word. Alright. Unlike in formal writing, you have to avoid contractions. Clear. Contractions are marks of informal. They aren't allowed in formal writing. Avoid writing them and instead write full words like cannot, will not, and should not. Third difference also between them. In informal writing, you may use the first person pronoun, I, or second person pronoun, you address the reader, no problem, in informal writing. Or even third person also is allowed. Clear, he and she and so on. So you can use I, you, or we, alright, and so on. Whereas in formal writing, you have to be objective as much as possible and use only third person pronoun. Clear? They or she and so on. Clear? Why? To reflect objectivity. Right. And also we know that the writer in academic and formal writing should be detached or disconnected from his text. Right. So that's why he will use he, they, passive voice, sometimes passive voice, to avoid immersing himself with I and we in his writing. Clear? So I and we are not recommended, right, in academic writing, in formal writing, but they are allowed in informal one. Good. Also, in informal writing, you may use cliches. Cliché is what? These are commonly repeated and frequently used expressions, right? And they become, you can say, boring, like loads of something. Little did I know. These are cliches which are frequently repeated by people, right? But in formal writing, avoid cliches. Clear? Avoid cliches and replace them with serious words like, for example, for loads of, you write many, right, or much, and for little did I know, you replace it with unknowingly. You see, serious words instead of the informal cliches. Good. Also, we have in informal writing the possibility to use abbreviated words, abbreviations. Clear? In informal writing, they are common and widely used, no problem, like TV, tech, photo, whereas in formal writing, they are not allowed. It means avoid using abbreviations in your academic and formal writing. Instead, you should write full words like television instead of TV, technology instead of tech, and photography. Right, or photograph instead of photo. Photograph instead of photo. Right, good. Also, another difference we need to highlight is, but in informal writing you may use imperative voice or imperative mood. Remember, do this and so on. Whereas in formal writing, you should avoid using the imperative voice. Clear? Imperative voice. Instead, you may use, for example, please refer to and such. I don't know, passive or boss voice or polite requests. Clear? But don't address the reader with orders in formal writing. Clear? Usually. Another also difference relates to the possibility of the use of the active voice. Clear? Now, in informal writing, most sentences are in active voice. For example, I say, we have noticed that. Clear? Whereas in formal writing, for the sake of achieving objectivity, right, for the sake of being neutral as writer from your text, clear, for the sake of detaching yourself from your text, you are invited and required to use, right, passive voice. Passive voice. For example, I say, it has been noticed that. Clear? Right. This shows objectivity and also enables you to avoid using the first person pronoun, I or we. Clear? Right. It has been noticed in Basadana, I have noticed. Right. Good. Also, in informal writing, you may use phrasal verbs. Now, phrasal verb is what? Phrasal verb is a verb plus preposition. Together, they give us new meaning for the two elements. For example, I have get over, blow up, mix up. So these can be used usually in informal writing. However, in formal writing, you should avoid using them and instead you replace them with their equivalent words. Right? Clear? Their equivalent words, for example, like recover instead of get over, inflate instead of blow up, and confuse instead of mix up. Right, to reflect seriousness of the language. Formal writing is meant to be serious, we can say weighty, right, heavy, right, and so on. Clear? Good. Complex too. Besides, we have also the possibility to use short and simple sentences in informal writing. So the informal writing style is characterized mainly by its short and simple sentences. Clear? Sometimes you can even use incomplete sentences, right, with the friends, with the family, and so on. You don't need to complete the whole sentence, right? For example, you say, I don't know, the offer is, turn down, example, turn down, clear. But in formal writing, avoid using, for example, such incomplete sentences, right, and very, very simple and, you can say, colloquial sentences. Instead, use longer sentences and more complex sentences, which are preferred here, right, to reflect the seriousness and the weight of the formal writing. Clear. For example, I said the offer has been rejected. Unfortunately, the offer has been rejected. I lengthen my sentence and add more words to it. Even the choice of words and also their arrangement makes the two styles different. Clear? Here it is simple words with a simple order, but in formal writing, complex words with complex order and different arrangement of the words. Right? Good. Also, in informal writing, avoid using numbers as they are, or numerals. Don't write them using numerals like 3 and so on, or 4, any number or any numeral. Now, instead, you should write it in words. 3, using letters. Clear? Besides to the other abbreviations, the common ones like IE, right? That is to say, like EG, right? For example, like okay, it's informal, it's clear, right? Instead, acceptably, right? Acceptably. In formal writing, you must provide full words, serious words, complex sentences, complex structures, clear, and complete ones too. Also, emotional punctuation is widely used in informal writing. You may use it. For example, use sometimes 2 or 3 exclamation points, sometimes exclamation point and question mark together. Ellipses also are allowed in informal writing, whereas in formal writing stick to the academic rules of punctuation. You must apply the rules of academic writing and punctuation in academic writing. Clearly, everything is governed by a rule, right? And don't just throw the marks the way you like, the way you desire, as we find in the kinds of informal writing and also in the free writing too. Free writing can be also considered as a type of informal writing. Clear? Finally, also, another aspect of difference between the two styles. In informal writing, usually writers can show emotion and sympathy towards the readers. Clear? They show maybe through punctuation, through some words, and so on. However, in formal writing, you must be objective in your writing. Just state your arguments, your facts, your points confidently, right? And avoid immersing yourself and your emotions and feelings in your piece of formal writing. You are not meant here to, sympathize or to show emotions, but to maybe argue, to describe, to express, or to, comment, to provide facts, to inform, and not to sympathize and to show emotions and so on. Right. So these, my dear students, are the main differences and the common difference between the two styles, formal writing style and the informal writing style. Of course, we, as we are concerned with academic writing and academic essay, we must always adopt the formal writing style with all its aspects and its, you can say, distinguished, right, composition and structures, and avoid using or inserting any kind of informal markers in our essay and in our formal academic writing in general. Yet, bear in mind that the two styles are correct. When we say academic and formal writing, use it and avoid informal, we mean avoid informal in the formal context. Clear? You should not use informal writing in formal context, like in business, like in, I don't know, researches, but informal writing itself in English is correct. It's one of the English styles. It's not wrong, it's correct. Clear? It's only a matter of setting right context and also tone of the language and its audience too, its context. Right. And each one of them, as you see here, writing informal style is appropriate to its specific situations and contexts, and also the informal one is appropriate and correct also, and it's appropriate social context and also audience. Right. So both are correct. Just take into consideration the audience and the context each one is used for. Right. Go. Also, last thing we can say that whatever you choose, for example, whether informal writing, maybe in the letter, or formal writing sometimes, be consistent. It means when you start writing using formal style, keep using it till the end of your composition. Right. Of course, if it is directed to an informal, and casual context. And if you choose also to write using the formal writing style, here also be consistent and you keep using the formal norms of writing, rules of writing, aspects of formal writing, and don't insert any kind of or any element of informal writing. Don't mix the two styles up. Be careful. Right. So that's the end of our lesson, which we hope it is useful and helpful to you, especially with the course of essay, because in the essay we mustn't use any kind of informal writing. Right. Stick to the formal writing style, objective writing, academic writing, and don't use the informal and don't confuse the informal with the formal. Thanks so much. Take care.